Hey everyone, it is me E and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you probably the most unsatisfying thing you've ever seen. This is a total fail of me trying to make a pop-up Valentine's Day card for my husband. So I got the outline, the what do you call this? The pattern, I guess. Yeah, the pattern from the website called Disney Family, or family.disney.com, and it was a Winnie the Pooh pop-up Valentine's Day card with a downloadable PDF and whatever. I thought, okay, this is intended for children, so surely this will be easy enough. The only really fun part of making this was cutting out the pieces, and even that was kind of tedious and not that fun. The instructions say that this will take you 30 minutes to make. This took me closer to an hour. Part of that is because I got majorly confused partway through and had to stop and collect my thoughts and really pray on what to do next. But basically, the way I did it was I cut out all the pattern pieces and then I traced it onto the actual paper that I wanted the card to be made from. So the instructions say print the pages onto corresponding cardstock colored paper. But it's the pieces, you would have to print them out 14 times because on the PDF they have multiple parts that would be different colors all on the same page. So even the instructions that they give, it's kind of you can't do that, duh. It won't work if you try that. So I just figured it'd be easier to print off the pattern and then trace it onto paper, piece by piece, according to color. But even then, the pieces themselves that you're supposed to cut out have parts that have different colors on them. So there's a part there that you can see at the top left of the screen where it's the main part of the card. It's got Pooh's tummy, which should be yellow, his shirt, which should be red, and then the background, which would be a different color. So there's 3 different colors that piece should represent, and so they're telling you to print it off on one colored piece of paper. I think if you were making this with kids, the easiest solution would be to cut it out from white cardstock and just have them color it in. But even at that, you would still have the lines, the pattern lines of where you're supposed to fold it on the card, which looks tacky. So I feel from the get-go, I should have known that this was not going to be a very good craft idea and that it wasn't that well thought out by this website. I wonder who wrote this article. I know that the pop-up engineer Matthew Reinhardt is the one who designed the card, but I don't know who wrote the instructions for this on the Disney Family website. It just says Disney Family Contributor. So I guess they wanted to be anonymous. They probably knew that this wasn't going to work very well. But anyway, the instructions tell you to cut out carefully along each piece on the solid black line of the template. So I did that part. And then after that, it says using a ruler and a paper clip, score and fold lines with the paper clip and the ruler, which is great because it tells you paper clip and ruler twice. It's redundant. So there's redundancy in the instructions. And then it says fold along all of the dot, dash, and dashed lines. You'll want to fold downward, making a tent shape with the dashed lines, and fold the paper upwards, making a V shape with the dot dash lines. But the problem with that instruction is that each of these pieces doesn't necessarily have an up and down signifier. So you don't really know if you're folding upward or downward because the pieces, once you've cut them out, can be flipped either way. So that instruction is not that great either. I guess if you left it with the dots and the dashes on them, it'd be easier to tell which way is up and which way is down because there's text on them. But even still, it's very confusing. But I'm starting to assemble the card now. So I put down the base layer first of his tummy and his shirt, and then I glued what is his face. And at this point I was optimistic. Okay, this looks good. This looks like the way I imagine it to look, the way that it seems like it's intended to work. And then right about now is when things start to fall apart. So this is the mechanism that holds the actual banner up that Pooh Bear is holding. And at this point, it starts to get kind of crumply. Now, part of the problem, I think, is that I use stiff paper for part of it and kind of flimsy paper for Pooh Bear's face. And I think that like the paper I used for his face couldn't hold up to the paper I used for everything else. And part of the reason for that is just like I didn't have thick cardstock or scrapbook paper in that golden color. All I had was like thin paper. So using what I had on, I just, want to use what I have on hand because I'm trying to save money, obviously. And so that didn't really work out that well. And then this was the most confusing part, the banner that Pooh Bear holds. Like, I had no idea how that part was supposed to be assembled. And here's a clip of me trying to figure it out in real time. Doesn't really pop up. See, at this point, it was just starting to like crumple. So instead of it folding appropriately when you close the card and open it, like all of the pieces inside just kind of crumple up together instead. But this is the point where I was like, this isn't working, but I guess I'm just going to keep going and see what happens. So I cut out the appropriate colored pieces of paper for Pooh's hands, and I went ahead and drew his little face on, and I wrote my Valentine's Day message on his little banner. See, part of the problem with this banner is that it's just like loose and floppy. So like when he opens it up, there's no tension. So it's just like his arms are dangling, and it's very strange and upsetting looking. So I tried to add these two little pieces that would hold the ends of the banner back more towards the card so they wouldn't hang so loosely out. But this didn't really work. I mean, it wasn't part of the original pattern, so they just kind of fall off and like they don't stay stuck. Because I guess the card naturally wants to have the banner flap and fold and fall forward. The other problem is with this card that is if you are able to successfully fold it down, Pooh Bear's ears stick out the bottom of the card. So I had to add additional like length to the bottom of the card so that when you fold it, there's no parts sticking out. Again, it's not really the best made pattern. I guess the vibe I'm getting is you're not supposed to actually close the card. You're just supposed to leave it open and like propped open the whole time. So that was kind of the conclusion I came to. And now I'm just adding my own embellishment of these little heart pieces. And that's basically the card complete. Again, it's kind of a fail and probably not that satisfying to watch. But this is my review. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.